Yeah.
I fried it up, put her in the air fryer.
There you go.
Chris Pratt.
Chris Pratt.
That's horrifying. Number 5.
That's delicious.
It's efficient. The Bad Batch season finale, Kamino lost as Topoka City is bombed into oblivion by the Empire. The troopers of Clone Force 99 race to the Marauder, nearly drowning multiple times, which I almost hit that prediction. In the lab, we learned that much like Boba Fett, Omega does not have an enhanced age. So though she is a child, she is technically older than all of her brothers. The Batch continued to grapple with Crosshair's decision to remain loyal to the Empire and leave him behind as they escape Kamino. Meanwhile, Dr. Nalase will be putting her cloning science to good use for the Empire, which may shed some light as to how Palpatine is even a thing in The Rise of Skywalker. What do you think of the season finale?
I thought it was a good season finale. I mean, you get like the holy crap, are they actually going to drown? Like I was laughing because they're drowning and I'm like, Brenton just nailed it. They're just drowning for this episode. I'm like, this is really funny. And it actually does make you anxious and all that stressed out kind of thing. And they get out of it, but it's like very like much a thing where like, are they going to get out of this?
Like several times. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Like several times. And so that was good. The fact that like Crosshair, like he still helps, but he's like, I'm not joining your side. I'm still on this side, and that's just the way it is in Star Wars. You can like kind of you understand the other side, but you're like, I'm still not going over there. And that goes with both sides of, Star Wars. So I thought it was a good ending. There's, obviously it leads to season 2. We get the cliffhanger kind of deal with Dr. Nalase. And so, yeah, I thought it was a good way to wrap up a season and not, obviously not a series. So I was mostly, I thought for the most part, like a good episode. Like it's so funny how much it changed when we thought we were actually at the penultimate episode. We were kind of disappointed. Yeah. And then it wasn't actually the penultimate episode. And like the last 3 episodes have been really, really good in my opinion. I thought very Star Warsy, very much, good versus bad, but doesn't the good versus bad is also very gray.
Yeah. Yeah. I will be honest. I was a little bored with this episode. I think that they kind of shot the wad a little bit with the 15th episode. The 15th episode was great. It almost makes me wish that they just would have mushed it together and made it like a movie or like a one long episode. Yeah. Since they did the premiere as one long thing,
right.
Like a I think it was like 76 minutes long or whatever. Why not just push those together? I get wanting to do it on a cliffhanger, but there just wasn't a lot going on. I mean, you learn some key points. We see Nala say, she's going to be doing some cloning things. So she's going to be doing, like the whole scenario with possibly Snoke, possibly Palpatine. So hopefully we'll get to relive those fucking nightmares. But I did see that this officially ends the Clone Wars storyline. Yep. Like the Clone Wars is at an end. So I assume that this will kind of transition into Rebels, and we'll start to see in season 2, we saw it in season 1, the seeds of the Rebel Alliance being sown, but I think in season 2 we'll probably see a little bit more of that. And there's still some loose threads out there. You know what I mean? There's still some loose threads that need tied up. So, I putting a bow on the entire season. How did you feel about season 1 of the Bad Batch, especially in light of the fact that this is our first foray into animated Star Wars?
Better than I thought it would be, honestly. Like it exceeded my expectations for it, especially after, the kind of the middle where a lot was we're just doing our mission.
Filler.
Yeah, filler stuff.
Yep.
And you didn't know where it was going. So I don't even know what my expectation necessarily was. Entertainment value, like just kind of get me through whatever. It made me more excited about, season 2, of course, and Star Wars in general. I'm just, I'm always going to be in, but it's just, it does tell you there are like good people behind this and want to make good storylines. And it's hard to write 16 episodes, but the way they finished, I thought was still strong. I agree with you that maybe the last episode was a little slow, but the 15th episode was awesome.
Yeah, it was really good.
Good. And there's just, it's hard to come off of an episode like that. And a lot of times that's kind of the thing with most television is that the penultimate episode is actually better than the season finale or whatever, because it's just, they're building up everything. And so realistically, the last episode can only be a letdown a lot of times. But I mean, for the most, I would say positive, definitely positive going forward. I'm not going to rate this out of like 10 because I don't have a comparable. So it's one of those things where like to rate it out of something is not fair to it, not fair to me. But no, I just leave it positive and looking forward to the next season. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that between this, The Mandalorian, with really, they seem to be giving stewardship of the franchise over to Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau. I think that we're in a better place now with Star Wars than we were, sort of in the mix of The Last Jedi, Solo, as a Skywalker. I mean, we both like Solo. I mean, we're both, you like it a little bit more than I do, but I have an appreciation for it. But, I think with those three movies, and as much as we like it, it can't be denied that commercially it was not successful.
Right. No matter what we think, the numbers don't show it. So.
Right. Whereas the opposite of that is true for like The Rise of Skywalker. It was commercially very successful, made over $1 billion, but critically not so much. Right. And so I think we did our Star Wars episode, right? We did our Star Wars 2 episodes back in December of last year. And we got the questions like, man, you guys did a lot of shitting on Star Wars. Like, can you even call yourselves fans? And the two things with that is, number one, just because you're a fan of something doesn't mean you blindly love it no matter what. Like, that's just silly. You know what I mean?
I think you're a perfect example wearing a Cavs hat right now.
Right. Yeah.
There you go.
I mean,
you root for the Cavs, but I mean, it's pretty easy to shit on them.
Well, yeah. I mean, they're very fortunate over a 15-year period that one of the top basketball players ever grew up just down the road, and they lucked out on some lottery, but that's a whole nother conversation.
Right.
But just because you are a fan of something doesn't mean you blindly love it and think all of it's awesome.
Right.
There are times when, you can say this thing that I love, whether it's a TV show or a movie series or a musician or sports teams or whatever, and you take a look at them and you go, no, it's not good right now. It's moving in a bad direction. And I think that they're starting to maybe get a handle on what people really want to see from Star Wars. And they kind of want to see, like with The Mandalorian, The Bad Batch, Rogue One. I think Rogue One's probably universally the most well-liked Disney movie.
Yeah.
I think that that's what you want to see, like flawed characters. You want to see characters who have perspective. You want to see the gray areas that are presented. You don't want like Rey, like there's nothing wrong with Rey. And that's why she's not interesting. You know what I mean? So I think that, just kind of to put a bow on this, I think that Star Wars is in a better place now than it was even 2 years ago. And hopefully it continues the upward trajectory. But we are going to get a Rian Johnson trilogy, so I'm not holding out hope too highly.
That was going to be my thing. We would get Rian Johnson. I mean, it will be. I'm intrigued no matter what happens going forward, and based on things like this. I mean, The Mandalorian is the best thing to happen to Star Wars in more than our lifetime.
Yeah, right.
There you go.
Almost 4 years. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.